Hey everyone, welcome back. I have some new Let's Not Meet stories for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks every one of you guys for watching my videos. It means the world to me, and I hope to keep providing you with good content. With that said, I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy. So I was writing this in the Reddit vent channel, and I said to myself, this is some fucked up Let's Not Meet content. This is going to be a long one. Sorry in advance. Also, English is not my first language, so grammar isn't going to be the best. For a bit of context, I need to explain how transportation works in the area where I live. So where I live, the public transportation is absolute shit. There's only one not very reliable public bus that takes you in and out of the residential area and is a long way walking. So the people in the residential area came up with the cab sort of system, where you pay by the seat. So one of the cabs fits up to 4 people, and a little under a year ago, they decided to identify the cabs with a sticker with a number that states that the car is part of the cab line. Also, the drivers have to have an ID that has the cab line info. Now onto the story. A couple of times men have tried to give me a ride. I do my best to ignore them, but sometimes it's a little scary. The part of the residential area where I live in is a little bit isolated, so there isn't a lot of cars or people that go through there, and I have to walk alone from my house to the cab line and bus stop. In one opportunity, a couple of months ago, I was walking from my house to the stop, and I was wearing headphones, so I wasn't paying that much attention. First mistake on my part. And a car pulled over next to me. This wasn't all that strange, because I've been using the cab line for a while, and a lot of the drivers know me, and if they see me, they pull over, so I don't have to walk all the way to the stop. The driver said, "Hey, are you going to place of destination?" I said yes, and got inside the car without checking the windshield for the ID number. Second mistake on my part. Here's where alarms started going off in my head. First, the cars in the line tend to be older cars with no AC, and this was a newer car, and when I got in, he locked the doors and turned on the AC. At this point, I finally realized this wasn't one of the cabs, but a complete stranger. He began to ask me things like my name, exactly where I lived, and other personal things. I remember vaguely with my heart beating really fast. I was starting to panic, so I texted a friend my location and told him to call me ASAP. At this point, we were close to the destination, and this guy was not slowing down the car and was about to pass the stop. Then the call came through, and I started to talk to my friend like he was my boyfriend. "Hi baby, I'm almost there. Wait for me and we'll go, okay?" My friend was really confused, but when the man heard my conversation, he suddenly stopped the car saying, "Sorry, I was so entertained talking to you that I almost passed the stop. Maybe we could see each other again." Here, he unlocked the car and I bolted out barely saying anything. After that day, I became more aware of my surroundings, and I tend to only get inside the cabs in the stop unless I clearly see the ID of the car. A couple of my friends said I was overreacting, but still, it scared the shit out of me. Then today comes. I was walking from my house to the stop, no headphones in this time, and when I'm halfway there, a car starts driving slowly next to me. I keep on walking, and the older man that was driving towards me starts talking to me. "Are you Alicia's daughter? Do you live around here?" I responded, "No, I'm not," and keep on walking. He insisted, saying he was a neighbor, and that he could give me a ride. I replied again, that I wasn't and that I didn't want the ride. Mind you, my mom wasn't called that and has been dead for over a decade, and my grandma, that people sometimes confuse to be my mom, is not called that either. He kept insisting. I began walking faster, approaching the stop, where there were more people. At this point, the man became angry and started to yell, saying this was the last time he would be nice to me and offer me a ride. Then he sped up and left. Finally, I got to the stop to get inside a cab. Then he left me at my destination. When I got to work, I told my boss, and she said, "Thank God you kept on walking. You could have been kidnapped." Well, yeah, that was my morning. I really need a car. To both creeps that maybe wanted to kidnap me, or who knows, let's not meet. This happened over 10 years ago, so excuse me if the details are a little fuzzy. When I was in high school, my friend Claire came to sleep over. We made some plans to sneak out and hang out with some guys, and then one of them would drive us home. We go out to our friend's apartment, have some fun, and around midnight we decide it's time for us to head back. But when we ask to be taken back, everyone says no, despite previously agreeing to bring us back. Everyone said they were too drunk or too high, so we eventually decided to start walking back, and we could make some phone calls to see if anyone could pick us up and bring us the rest of the way back. My house was a good 20 minutes away by car on the highway, so there was no way we were walking all the way back. The apartment was towards the back of the complex, so we started making our way to the entrance. We don't even get halfway there before a car slowly starts rolling on behind us. I was 15 or 16 at the time, and very naive to the ways of the world, so I wasn't too concerned, but Claire was a little smarter than me on this night. She tells me to start walking faster, so we start walking faster. The car also picks up their pace behind us. Again, she tells me to walk faster, so we start moving as fast as we can, and that's when the car pulled slightly in front of us, and two of the passenger doors open, and two men get out. Realizing there's no walking faster to get out of this situation, she instructs me to run now. So she takes off running and I follow her. She runs towards a group of parked cars and jumps behind a pickup truck. And for a minute, we hope and pray that we weren't spotted. This is where details get a little fuzzy. One of them might have gotten back in the car at some point, as there's only one of them following us behind the truck. We hear a set of footsteps quickly approaching, and she quietly indicates that we're now going into stealth mode. The man is on the other side of the truck that we're hiding behind. He's circling the truck looking for us, and we're slowly and quietly circling in on the opposite side to avoid being spotted. It felt like a scene from a movie or a video game. We somehow managed to do 2 or 3 circles around the vehicle without being detected. And by the grace of the gods, he gives up and decides to go back to the car with his friends. This is our one shot to get away. She tells me to run again, so we run for what felt like an eternity, but in reality was probably only 15 to 20 seconds. We find the pool house area and find a spot to hide. We were hidden behind some fences and bushes and were anxiously awaiting to see if they would discover us. Their car pulls around to the pool house, and we're biting our nails hoping they don't stop and get out. The car slowly drives away, and we realize we haven't been spotted. We were safe for now, but the car circled around the apartment complex for hours and hours and hours. They weren't giving up on looking for us. We were safe for the time being, but now we needed to find a way out of there. It was the middle of winter, and of course we were dressed to impress the guys we went to hang out with. So short shorts and revealing tops. We were freezing. We found a dirty, disgusting Captain America blanket that we huddled up under while making phone calls to find someone to pick us up. We tried contacting the guys at the apartment, but no one answered our calls. None of our friends answered our calls. We felt completely alone and hopeless. But around 5 a.m., someone finally answered and said they would pick us up. The best news I've ever heard in my life. Our friend gets to the apartment complex, but can't find the pool house. The group of men are still constantly circling around, so there's no way we're coming out of hiding. We managed to figure out where our friend is at with a little detective work, figuring out what building they're facing, what's in front of them, are there dumpsters nearby, etc., etc. We figure out where they are at so we can make a run for it. We spot the car and hop in as fast as we can. Go, 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 we tell them, and our friend speeds off towards the entrance. We passed the group of men on the way out, and that was the last we saw of them. We made it back around 6 a.m., just in time to sneak back in without my parents ever knowing we even left. If Claire hadn't been with me that night, I definitely would have been abducted, hurt, and possibly killed. So thankful for Claire and our friend that picked us up, but a big fuck you to the adult men we went to hang out with as teenagers, and especially fuck you to the guys that intended to harm us. On a happier note, I'm now very diligent and aware of my surroundings, and we washed the dirty Captain America blanket and shared custody of it for years after this encounter. So to the men who terrorized me and my friend in a shitty apartment complex, let's not meet again. When I was a senior in college a few years ago, I lived in an old house about a 5-minute walk from my campus with 5 of my girlfriends. It was still COVID times, so we spent a lot of time just in the house, since we could not really go anywhere else. To preface this, the house was old, and many of the windows didn't lock. Our landlord sucked, as many college ones do, and did not do anything to fix the issue. But with it being 6 of us and often a boyfriend or 2 sleeping in the house, it felt mostly safe, and many of us would keep our windows open. Our college was in a town just outside of the second most dangerous city in the state, but right around the campus, it felt relatively safe. When the weather started getting warmer in early spring, we would sit out on the roof to sunbathe, and the roof faced our street. We would access the roof from my roommate's, let's call her Mary's, bedroom window on the 2nd floor, since it led straight to the roof. Our street was residential and did not get a ton of traffic, but we did have a couple encounters of younger guys catcalling us as they drove by. But nothing seemed sinister as we were college kids. One night, late in the semester, Mary went up to her room to call her brother, while the rest of us were hanging downstairs. That's when she rushed downstairs and said that she saw a ladder leading up to the roof, where we would all sunbathe, and right near her window, which was open. Later, we learned she said out loud to her brother what she saw before she came down. When she told us this, my other roommate and her boyfriend ran outside to find a man running away from our house with the freaking ladder, who we assume heard Mary telling her brother she saw the ladder and knew he was caught. It was dark, so they could not make out anything about him. I immediately texted our landlord asking if he had someone come by the house to do any work, and he said no. We then called the police, who came by. They did some investigating and patrolled our house for a couple nights, but we never found out who the man was, what his intentions were, or if he had been there before. So to the creep with the ladder, let's not meet again. I want to thank you all for listening, and if you have any stories you want me to narrate, please do it. It helps bring more content to the channel, and I would love to narrate them, and I'm sure everyone else would love to hear them. With that said, 2 links in the description for my Reddit and for my email are down there, so if you want to email me there, that's where you can. With that being said, as always, stay depraved.